Yeah.
Okay, well, let's transition this podcast. This is your official spoiler warning. We are going to start talking about Daredevil. So I'm going to change it up right here.
I guess other potential MCU spoilers. I guess we can just kind of blanket statement. We will openly talk about anything MCU related.
Yeah, light spoilers coming up. So that's your exit for everybody that doesn't want to be here for Daredevil Born Again episode 4. Well, this one really showed us some shocking, interesting ways that the Kingpin is definitely not on the up and up all the way.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yep. I just remembered one particular scene.
Yeah. So up until this point in the show, they're very much trying to show you that Wilson Fisk is not trying to go into the black. He's trying to stay right neutral. You know, he's a good guy. He's going to do everything by the law. But then you start seeing these signs of like, he's agitated by this job. He doesn't want to go have kids sing to him. He doesn't want to do all the aspects of the job. He wants to kind of just say, do this, make changes, have big plans like he's always done. And she's like, I'm showing you the job. This is the job.
Yep. You got to do this part of it.
But by the end, we see that he's clearly keeping a human in a cage and eating in front of him. Every night.
We're thinking that's his name, Adam.
That's Adam. That's got to be. Yeah. I think it said Adam.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Obviously, if that story gets out, that is horrible news for his entire administration. We already know that Michael is on thin ice with him, sort of. We had that whole, apology and situation, but Fisk did get in his face and say, listen, like anything like this ever happens again, like you don't want that. And now suddenly we know he's got this crazy secret. So like, I kind of like that dynamic.
You never know. He clearly can't just go around losing his temper and just breaking your face in. Yeah. So he's got more elaborate ways.
Like someone's definitely going to find that dungeon, right?
I mean, his wife must know about it.
Maybe.
They answered in sync.
They did answer in sync. That's true. Yeah.
I feel like if they didn't reveal that right away, I feel like there's going to be like, yeah, I knew. Yeah. So there was a lot of reports that the way Daredevil Born Again was done before the reshoots, that John Bernthal, the guy that plays Frank Castle, didn't want to come back for it. He didn't want anyone else to play the character, but he just said it didn't make sense for Frank Castle's story. So then he does show up in this episode.
Yeah, that was a good scene.
And clearly he must have approved of this story. What did you think of it?
The scene in general, or what he thinks of the story?
Have you seen him as the Punisher before? Did you ever watch the show?
Just in kind of recap videos. I've not actually watched the Punisher.
So that's your only take on him doing the character. What do you think?
Yeah, I really liked it. I really liked the character just on its own, standalone, but also the kind of contrast it brings to Matt's character. Kind of a yin and yang sort of vibe, I feel like, that I'd like to see play out more in the plot, rather than like them going through something together, rather than them just, in a room conversing and fighting a little bit.
The Punisher's backstory there from the comic, right?
Yeah.
Whole family dead.
Yep. So there's a reason he's like this.
Yeah, he kills indiscriminately. Daredevil doesn't even want to kill.
Oh yeah, I even like the conversation they were having about Frank kind of talking about Foggy and Foggy's killer and saying like, he's just in jail, and Matt's like, yeah, he got life, like that's not nothing, like dude got life, and Frank was like, yeah, what about Foggy? Like, Foggy get life? I was like, that's a good comeback.
Yeah. Better than what Foggy got.
Yeah.
And with Wilson Fisk, who knows how long will he stay in jail?
Yeah. But I guess was Matt going there to get confirmation that it wasn't Frank that shot Hector?
Yes,
like he kind of knew, but he just wanted to hear it.
Right.
Like, yeah, okay.
He wanted to make sure it wasn't something that Frank had any idea of who it is.
Yeah.
He's trying to.
Okay.
He's trying because the cop didn't get when
That's
he was
right.
questioning that one cop. He didn't hear his pulse.
It
Like he
wasn't
was
him
lying.
either.
Yeah. So he's up dead end a little bit.
Yeah. So yes, who killed Hector is kind of a question we're left with still, which I think is interesting. I mean, it was someone with the Punisher bullet.
So something I didn't notice, but I saw in some Easter egg things, the graffiti signed by Muse throughout the episode.
Yeah.
So yeah, graffiti painting serial killer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, graffiti, I guess, is one way to put it. It is technically graffiti, just not with spray paint so much.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that they wait this long into the episode to introduce this character. It makes me think that they're probably not going to be done with Muse this season.
I kind of don't think they should be, but anyway, yeah.
Yeah, I think Daredevil works best with some returning characters that come and go in his life, and specifically, it's just like Spider-Man. You have the perfect write-out. Yeah. Why you have a gallery of rogues that'll show up, to use a Batman term. It's because they don't kill him, so they keep coming back. And the Punisher, on the other hand, if you become his main enemy, there has to be some finality at some point because he shoots to kill.
Yeah. One thing with this particular character that I've learned just doing a little bit of research is just how like sinister he is, and it could be like a really good plot device as kind of like this constant, looming threat of just Muse and what he's up to, and maybe we suddenly see a piece of graffiti that we haven't seen in a long time, and just certain things like how like in Batman, Joker kind of we'll see like ha 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 written somewhere, and you're like, oh shit, that's right, Joker is still out there and a problem. Like I feel like that could kind of be what they do with Muse every now and then. I mean, it's a good villain that Marvel's got that they could do some really interesting stuff with.
I think they're trying to make it more connected to the MCU. Do you feel connected to the MCU when you watch the show? I mean, they made that Skrull mention. I don't know if you caught that.
Yeah, brief Skrull mention. Fisk's mentioned a dude in a spider costume, but no, not yet.
Yeah,
they've done a decent job like showing us a little like bit of the city. Like they do shots of like cleanup efforts and everything, and I feel like that's a decent opportunity that they could be like, oh yeah, this is from the recent battle or whatever, and that would make me feel a little more connected. But it's still really good. I don't feel like I'm missing anything from that.
The episode's title was Sic Semper Systema.
Yeah, that's a Latin, something about just injustice, essentially systemic injustice.
Translates to thus always to systems, suggesting a critique of systemic issues aligning with the episode's exploration of corruption and justice.
Yeah, and that's kind of how we opened, or spent the first quarter or so of the episode. With the fiddle faddle, was that what it's called?
Yeah.
Which that was an interesting take on that whole situation too. The cops sitting there eating it right in front of him as they're arresting him for stealing it. That was kind of messed up.
That is kind of messed up. And that they did a really good job showing a lot of the justice system issues with that. It's like, I got you 10 days, and it looks like a great deal to him. He's like,
but then he explains why
it's on my card. Yeah.
Yep. He's like, then I missed this appointment, and then I can't get this aid, and then I'd have to steal food or I'm not eating, and then I end up back here. And like it's a broken system, man. And they did do a good job just letting us get a really brief peek into that.
Yeah, I thought it was a good episode. It definitely wasn't the best episode so far. It was a good builder.
Yep. The ending was incredibly shocking with Fisk having Adam down there in the dungeon, and just that's going to open up a can of worms for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
and then we know that BB can get to Michael now too. I see that. I kind of see that's where that's going. Is that Michael's going to learn about this dungeon? He's already kind of on Fisk's radar as a leak, as a mole, not a mole, a leak. And then, now BB knows how to get to him. Just take him out, get him drunk, and we can get what we need out of him. So,
well, it could escalate one of two ways. Will they kill off BB like they did her uncle?
Maybe.
Or does BB live through a situation where maybe Michael tries to shut her up and then she gets the best of him because like she learned.
Right.
When I was in school, I actually learned self-defense as a minor.
That'd be cool.
There's a lot of ways that could go. I don't think that both of them make it out of this season alive. I think one of those characters. Don't you agree? Unless they're keeping the mayor thing going for multiple seasons,
which they also could. I mean, that could be something interesting to see Peter Parker deal with Mayor Fisk.
Yeah,
because they've teased that already, that Fisk and Peter are going to meet at some point. You would think anyway. It's kind of a big a big Marvel relationship.
Okay, well, I think that's all we have to talk about with that. I'm going to go back to